We were at the lake recently for a family reunion, and as we approached on the water on a jet ski, we approached these birds. We called them the Becky birds because they remind us of the bird from the crazy bird on Finding Dory. Anyway, we come up to these Becky birds, and they would dive under the water to avoid being bothered by us driving by. Their own sense of self preservation. Sometimes, as they would do this, we would come across and try to stay away from them, but sometimes there would be a mother bird and it would have a baby on its back. And it would swim and not because it couldn't dive, didn't want to dive, and so it would swim as fast as swim as fast as it could along the surface to get away from our splashes. Not intentional. We were just driving by and it was like, oh, we got to get out of the way. And so they would paddle as quickly as they could. And usually they would make it. But if they couldn't make it as quickly as possible, they would unfortunately they would have to dive, which left the baby on the surface and to kind of fend for itself because mom has to survive. Hopefully the baby will. We weren't getting that close, so we weren't putting them in danger. But she was nervous, and so she dove. And then she would pop up, and we would stop and look and make sure they were okay. And the mom would pop up, and the baby would swim over to her, and they would get back on her back and continue in their day. So it was pretty interesting nature story there. One time I was driving by, and I saw another mother with a baby bird. But except this time, this baby was big. It's like half the size of mom, right? When they're small, little, tiny chicks, I understand. Carry that baby around on your back, make sure it's safe, and take care of it. Well, on these other babies that were very large and a lot more capable, the mother was still carrying it on its back. And as we come by, like she would dive, no problem, because this thing is so big it would dive. And it could swim, and it could do everything the mother, almost what the mother could do. Different capacities, but still not totally helpless. And it made me wonder about us as humans with what are we carrying our babies on our back a little too long? And that's can be hard, especially for the mother heart out there that says, but it's my baby, I want to take care of him, I'm going to carry him on my back forever. And so we do, and I have a lot of clients that are carrying their children financially on their back. They pay for their cell phones, they pay for their car insurance, they pay for their gas, they pay for all of these things, right? My own mother, the generous, loving mother says, I want to help you, so let me help pay. And she's always trying to stick money in my hand or in my pocket to help out. I love her, and she's always trying to help me. But maybe she's trying to let me stay on her back. Instead of saying, hey, you're big enough, get off. Swim yourself. You don't need to be on my back. You got to do this on your own. Sometimes that happens with us financially. And so we have to lovingly say, you know what? I love you, but I got to take care of my own financial needs, and you're big enough to now start taking care of your own financial needs. It's time to swim on your own. And hopefully you've taught them along the way. If not, how get a coach like me, I can help teach them. But we got to make sure that they are no longer on your back. They can be weighing you down in the water. They're too big for them to be carrying around on your back. So we might have to have some of those crucial conversations to start letting them be more independent. And that they might resist because they're not used to it, and it's more responsibility that they're starting to feel, and it's more tight now on their finances. And you might resist because maybe we don't want to let them go. And I tell my kids, stay little. Just stay little forever, will you? I don't want them to grow up. I want them to stay little. That's the my mother heart in me. So the challenge is to have that conversation and to make the decision and set some boundaries ourselves as parents to say, okay, I'm not going to be able to continue to subsidize your life. It's not a matter of love. I love you. And I love you enough to kick you out of the nest. I love you enough to make sure that you can swim on your own because I won't be here forever. And I need you to be self-reliant so that you can take care of my grandkids and teach them the same thing because they'll be riding on your back for a little while. And you both, my kids and my grandkids, cannot be riding on my back. It's going to drown me. So we got to have that crucial conversation with those kids and helping lovingly start allowing them to swim on their own. Financially speaking, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all these things that our kids ride our coattails for a while. And sometimes we let them ride our coattails maybe a little too long. So think about that, discuss that with your accountability partners in your life, and figure out how do we get them to be more self-reliant, because the goal in all of this is not about unloving them and kicking them out of the nest arbitrarily. It's about you preparing for your future. And is the weight of their finances dragging you down? Because that mother, if the mother is too weighed down, she can't swim. She can't feed herself. She can't swim, this little Becky bird. So that happens sometimes. And I have clients that are like, well, I can't retire because I'm paying for all of my kids' things. Well, maybe it's time for those kids to be more a team player and take on more of the weight. Maybe they can help with some of those extracurricular activities. Maybe if they're adults, absolutely they can help with their own bills, the cell phones, the insurance, those things. You can still be generous and find opportunities to do that and show your generosity and gift giving to them, but you don't have to carry them around on your back. That's the moral of this story. So look for opportunities to help them become more self-reliant and more adults so that you can prepare for your future. You've got to get out of debt. You've got to save for your future emergencies. You've got to save for retirement. And every year that you lose on because you're helping the kids and you're not helping yourself, that's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars in your retirement because of the loss of compound interest and time. So we got to be very careful that we're not losing time because we're over subsidizing our children. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Like the oxygen mask example in the airlines, when the oxygen masks drop, you got to take care of your own first and then help others. So make sure you will retire, and you don't want you living in the kid's basement. They don't want that. So it's a team decision to say, hey, you're going to pay your own cell phone because you don't want me living in your basement. Maybe it's not that extreme, but it's the principle to say, are you preparing for your own financial future, or are you carrying your kids on your back a little too long?